Hey guys, and welcome to my Thursday night football prediction video for the 49ers visiting the Seahawks in Seattle in an obvious NFC West divisional matchup. Now, as we all know, these teams have crazy history, so much history. And San Fran coming off a loss, Seattle coming off a loss. Seattle paving the way for San Fran to potentially take the lead in the division this week with obviously a tiebreaker. But as we all know, if San Fran, and I'm betting they're going to come out swinging, because if they can take the home game of Seattle and take it away from them, that's going to give them crazy advantage later in the year when they have to play Seattle again at home. Now, San Fran has not played well on the road this year. They are 0-2, and the Seahawks are 2-1 at home. Already their fourth game at home this year. So when you think of yourself as a Seattle fan, I think McDonald has done a great job. I think that he, is doing good for his rookie year. There's obviously ups and downs. They lost to the Giants. But then again, you can say San Fran, they lost to Arizona. And it's like the only teams that the Niners have beat were New England and the Jets. And as we know, the Jets are far from perfect. They just fired Saleh today. But looking at this, they seem to have a really bad consistency problem with offense. Obviously, we knew that it would hurt them not having McCaffrey. And if it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me that, you have Ayuk. Jennings is playing, is the best football on the team right now as a receiving threat. Ayuk signs a big contract, but he doesn't have a touchdown. It's just really kind of, bad for me. Purdy is suffering, not in the completion percentage, because he's 1 of 3 for 157, which is solid, with 1,300 and yards, and then 6 TDs and 4 interceptions over 5 games. So it's like the TDs aren't very good. On that end, I think that Mason is having a good year. I don't know if they just hit a doldrum on offense or whatever. They become way too predictable. Obviously, with McCaffrey, you can do so many things because the guy is like the perennial Swiss Army knife of the league. And who knows if he'll even be that if he comes back, because his injury seems crazy serious, But it's like looking at this, Seattle is the underdog for whatever reason. The San Fran has a 3.5 point advantage. The over under, they have 47.5, but the odds point towards, it being over 47.5, maybe because of the way these defenses have played and all of that. And it's like, looking at these teams, I just feel like, if you're Seattle, you should really be able to like dominate these games. You have a stud muffin of a back and Kenneth Walker, who missed some games, but he's done well every time he's been on the field. And, he has 3 games played with 37 carries. And even Zach Charbonnet, a very good complimentary back. And it's just like you have so much receiving talent. And it's like, your top 3 wide receivers all have over 20 receptions, all have 30 plus targets, with 2 of them having 40 and 43 with JSN and Metcalf. And it's like, the yards are very good, for that sort of thing. And, Geno Smith is spinning the ball really well. He's, kind of rebounded from a very off season last year. I think it's kind of because of the protection being a bit better. Cross is playing a lot better this year. And it's just, I think that this team just needs more of a balance. I think that they do pass it way too much, in my opinion. It's like if you look at the carries through, through 5 games, you have 37 carries through Kenneth Walker, and then Charbonnet has 44. And then it's like, Kenny McIntosh has 3, and then Laviska Shenault has 1. Obviously, only 3 of those guys being running backs. I mean, you have 20 carries from Geno Smith, which I think is kind of wild. I mean, he's looking more athletic this year than last year. He was not looking athletic last year. And, looking at this team, it just seems like they should be able to be unstoppable if Geno Smith is, mobile enough to where he can run and he can escape and he's being smart and he's slinging the ball well. I just feel like it should be a no-brainer that, you're able to do so many things. And it's like, I do think the run game kind of looks spotty at times, even though these guys have good averages. Charbonnet just shy of 4. Kenneth Walker, 5.5 yard average. And then, I mean, even McIntosh with his, low amount, 3.7 average. So it's like you're averaging, amongst the team 5 all around, which it's like, you'd think would be, really good. And it's like you have 1,400, passing yards and like 143 receptions off of 193 total targets. It's just, it's, kind of one of these things where it's like, you expect more TDs from this team. And it's like, I just don't understand how this high efficiency offense cannot find the end zone. It baffles me. It baffles me over and over again. And it's like, you got to figure out your red zone offense, which is bizarre because, like, you got a big, huge guy like Metcalf. How many teams have a guy that's as fast, as strong, and as versatile as him, and as athletic as him? But moving back, to look at the game and to look at the Niners, I mean, obviously, it's easy to say that they're missing McCaffrey, but you got Purdy who's playing rocky. Like I said, he's got a respectable completion percentage at 65%. Mason is running the ball well. Even Purdy's carrying the ball and getting out of the pocket and rushing for yards, And then you have, Jawan Jennings popping off. Ayuk is barely behind him, but he doesn't have a TD. You've got Jennings and Kittle are the only ones with, TDs on this team, 3 apiece. And it's just like, Jawan Jennings is doing everything. He's got the most big plays. Debo and Ayuk are tied at 4, Kittle at 2, and then the rest of them at 1. But it's just, they're not having fumbling issues really on this team. And, Purdy, like I said, he's got 4 picks, has been sacked a decent amount of times. So I think that O-line isn't playing as well. I think they realize that it's like, if they don't have McCaffrey, yeah, they're going to run it with Jordan Mason. But I don't think that teams are really buckling under, Jordan Mason's running ability when the Niners are trying to close games. And we obviously saw that with the Cardinals last week. Their loss coming from that. And it's like, the thing about, looking at Seattle is that they just couldn't score enough last week and their defense was exposed. And I just fear, obviously these games are just going to be a dogfight and they're hard to predict. And I predict that it's going to be a close game almost every time because these teams just have history and it's always hard to predict, what kind of game you're going to have. I do think that, while the Seattle has been running it well, I think that it's going to be hard against, a stout front where they're playing obviously, one of the best middle linebackers to do it in Warner and just that overall defensive capability of, being very physical up front and not letting the other team get the big play. So looking at this game, I'm at odds of who I should predict, to be honest with you. And while San Fran is favored, I don't know why they're not favored by many points, but ESPN Analytics says that there is 61% chance to win this game, and I'm just like, that seems crazy high. Like, I get that they, dominated the Seahawks last year, but last year was kind of a limbo year as far as I'm concerned for the Seahawks, and they're playing a lot better. I'm actually going to go with the underdog, and I'm going to predict Seattle to win at home. Because while I think that, San Fran can lean on the running game, I think that, the Seahawks defense is physical enough up front where they're going to be able to, make it not easy on Mason. And it's just not gonna be easy to me. And I think that they're gonna be able to score, against this team. I mean, the only players that look like they maybe aren't gonna play, that are, star are Uchenna Nwalus. I mean, I guess, some of these, there's a few of these players, but overall they're getting healthy at the right time. Leonard Williams is healthy again. Boy Mafe is questionable, but I expect him to play. And Rick Woolen, I think is going to have a better game. And I think that, yeah, they just overall, I think, are going to be able to maybe match up pretty well against, this team, of the Niners. And it's going to be hard, at home at Seattle for the Niners to win. So I'm my score prediction for this game. I think it's gonna be I'm gonna say 23-20 game is my prediction in favor of Seattle. But if you guys like what I've said here, or if you have any comments over how you think the game is going to play out, I would definitely like to hear them and have some conversations in the comments. But if you like this and if you want to see NFL content, mainly predictions and that sort of thing, then I upload every Tuesday and Friday. And we'll see you next time.